Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And on today's show, we're going to talk a little about our favorite topic, Polysign. And recently, the CEO of Polysign, Jack McDonald, was on a DeFi panel. So he wasn't on a panel with Goldman Sachs. He wasn't on a panel with JP Morgan. He was on a DeFi panel with other DeFi projects. And this is the first real public appearance he's made as Polysign's CEO. So I think that alone should give you some kind of understanding of where Polysign's going. And yes, it is institutional custody, but it's more than that. It's about integrating the traditional markets with what's going on in crypto right now. And DeFi is huge. And he actually says that in the panel here and how we're having this transition. And he uses a specific term. He says, we're going through the vortex. We're in the vortex right now. So let's listen to a video from that panel that's on my Twitter right here.
Look back historically, what was traditional finance will be seen as kind of Stone Age banging rocks together compared to what comes after it.
Yeah, I love that.
So I think it's going to be a pretty incredible 50 years.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Jack?
Similarly, we're going through the vortex here, and there's no turning back. And we're going to think back and say, oh my gosh, how did the world ever exist like that?
I agree.
Similarly, we're going through the vortex here, and there's no turning back. And we're going to think back and say, oh my gosh, how did the world ever exist like that before?
So that's a really powerful statement he said right there. And now this is somebody coming from the heart of the traditional markets. He was with UBS as a big custodian. The vice president of BNY Mellon, Tim Keeney, is on the board of directors at Polysign. And they're acknowledging that we're going through this vortex right now where DeFi is having its influence and is changing the financial markets. So a lot of us, we talk about CBDCs and what the central banks are going to do. But what's really more relevant here, and what Jack is saying in this, is that DeFi is the one that's having the actual influence and the impact that's making these traditional markets move. So one thing I do want to break down now is we don't have too many details about Polysign, but we do have a lot more than we did a few months ago. So I want to break down the different components here of what is the Polysign platform and what are the dynamics there and who are the players. So first, we have the Polysign private blockchain. So this is what's going to support the escrow service, which is going to allow for trading for institutional brokers between different exchanges and will allow for them to offer custody wallets that will allow trading from different exchanges. These institutional players are not going to have Coinbase wallets and sign up with accounts the way we do as retail. That's not where this is going. And towards the end of this video, we're going to show what the SBI institutional wallet is like and how it's different than anything else out there right now. But the second component of the Polysign ecosystem is the Cohen, which is the asset management and prime brokerages. Now, this allows for Polysign Inc. and Standard Custody to be able to connect to all these different exchanges in crypto, in the FX market, in the commodities market, in the securities market, in the bond market. They are one of the top 5 prime brokerages and asset managers. So they are really big, and they're a fast-growing Wall Street firm that has turnkey solutions for hedge funds, for family offices. So they're basically an upper tier, and they'll offer those turnkey things to these wealth management, family offices, and hedge funds that are coming into crypto. So this is an on-ramp, basically. Then the third component we have is Standard Custody and Trust, which is a crypto digital bank. And that's going to be on the Polysign blockchain. So this allows for them to have the first ever crypto custody solution that's actually built on a blockchain. There is no other crypto custody solution or digital asset solution that is built on a blockchain. So this is a really interesting dynamic of having those three. We don't know what the connections are to actually RippleNet or Ripple or the XRP ledger. We do have that the resume from one of the employees at Polysign who says it could fetch transactions from the XRP ledger. So we kind of have to look at Polysign right now, and this is a little speculating. as like an XRP ledger sidechain or a private blockchain that allows for custody, but it will allow to connect to these public blockchains. So I believe they said 10 public blockchains so far. So the big 10 probably. So XRP is obviously included in that big 10. So you're bringing together custody, trading, and then different integrations with institutional DeFi at some point here. So he's on a DeFi panel because they're getting noticed. So let's go to another clip here from a different part of that panel discussion.
I was just thinking, though, it's a very interesting point, and the amount and the speed and breadth of innovation is really incredible in decentralized finance. And I was just thinking about the contrast of traditional finance, and one of the factors that may be at play here is that in traditional finance, to really innovate and bring a product to market, in most cases, not always, but in most cases, you needed to go through certain regulatory hurdles. And so that there was a bit of a governor on that innovation. And now if you think about a world where the regulatory environment is much less prevalent, it really opens the gate for much greater innovation and exploration, which in many ways is a phenomenal, great thing. It makes it challenging and candidly sometimes to follow it and keep track of all the different directions that DeFi is pushing. I think on balance, I'm sure all the panelists would agree, it's a very positive development for finance and the democratization of access to financial services. But it is very different than the way we've grown up in the traditional finance business.
So I think this is very powerful. What he's saying here is that he's acknowledging, so this is everyone from Polysign understanding that, hey, the way things were is changing. And these new DeFi projects and protocols are not going to be regulated in the same way. So you're never going to get a regulated framework around DeFi. Some of these things are just software. So there's only so much you could regulate. And people like Gary Gensler who want to regulate the exchanges, that's great. But these DeFi protocols and projects are outside the scope. You can regulate them on KYC, AML, and the travel rule, but they're able to develop and expand innovation outside of that governor, where he says that, in typical traditional finance, you need regulatory approval for a lot of things. With these, it's just adding on another piece of software that's composable that connects to the other piece of software. So liquidity pools that connect to loans, that connect to yield farming, they're all added onto each other and composable. And eventually, that's going to solve real world problems. So we're not fully there with DeFi yet, but we are coming. And there was this project out there called Polytrade. It's not directly linked to Polysign, but the concept of it is built on Polygon is similar. It creates retail being able to participate in liquidity pools to provide liquidity for corporate lending and credit. And Jack McDonald, in another video that Patty and I did about a couple of weeks ago, we portrayed Darren Moore's clip of Jack McDonald talking how retail will provide liquidity and be able to be a part of investing in this real estate tokenization. So I think we need to be accepting of the fact here that what Polysign's building is not going to exclude retail, just how XRP is not going to be taken away from you. So that's like something we need to really remove from our mind here, because if you have that closed-minded thinking something's going to be taken away from you, you're going to miss all the opportunities that are reality and are fact-based that are going to be in front of you. And Polysign is going to involve retail. And it's going to mature the institutional space, and it's definitely going to bring in institutional money, but it's going to merge these two markets together. There's no world where it's just like institutional separate from retail. They're going to be blended together and overlap, because that's how markets work. There will be enterprise applications that will be offered to just retail, and they'll be through institutional money, and there'll be retail going the other way. So this is all coming together. There's no set roadmap for what's being laid out right now. And I know a lot of us want to feel comfortable in what's coming and know exactly how it's going to work, but we don't. And that's the reality of things. The guarantee is change. Change is coming regardless of what you might think or what you might not think. And DeFi is a expression of that change to the financial marketplace. It's going to have a bigger impact than you think your CBDCs are going to have. And this flip the switch moment That's not what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on here because this is where the innovation is happening. Innovation doesn't happen at the central bank level. So whatever they're doing at the central banks is great, but they're always going to play catch up to the market and what's happening on the innovation front. And usually that starts in the private sector. So here's the SBI wallet digital custody. So the SBI wallet is a insurable institutional grade digital asset wallet and custody platform built upon threshold signature, a revolutionary multi-party computation digital signature technology. Offers ultimate in safety and security for protecting your digital assets. It's robust and easy to use user interfaces, compliance tools, advanced controls, reporting, auditing, and comprehensive APIs allow for ease of deployment as a standalone service or integration with your custody internal systems. So this is really powerful. So it gives us insight. So what this allows for is multi-party computation removes the private key. So now you don't have to worry about securing the private key because the private key doesn't exist by itself. It's broken up into different sections that are held by different entities on the platform, which would be the institutional custody platform. They don't give details exactly who those entities are going to be, but what it allows for is for the institutional entity to then offer wallets to their clients without them having to be responsible for the private key, but it gives them the flexibility to connect to different decentralized applications, different exchanges, and other interfaces without being tied to just one exchange. So this is really the future of where crypto wallets are going because it removes the private key, which is the biggest part of weakness. And for 10 years plus, that's been the security concern. It was like, first, we just locked this in a mountain in cold storage, but now you can't use it. So you got to be able to use these wallets and then offer them to their clients. So SBI is building like this turnkey solution that will kind of be white labeled out to other banks and other enterprises and other financial institutions and asset managers. So for example, standard custody with Zodia, there's another, we see 114 crypto custodians have popped up in the last 8 to 12 months. And you know how many there were back then? There were like 10 to 12. So there's massive market infrastructure being built on the back end. And SBI has been funding this development of multi-party computation for the last 5 years from this company called Sapor. And they've been building this multi-party computation technology. And there's an actual standard behind it. So it removes the private key from ever needing to be stolen because it can't be stolen. So you don't have to secure something that can't be stolen. So I think that's a powerful part of this technology. And we'll link the articles right here in the description below. So you have all the information, but it's important to understand what's being built here. This is the next generation of financial market infrastructure for crypto, but also for traditional markets. We're going to see a lot of this white labeling of solutions. So certain things that Polysign builds, certain things that SBI builds, they're going to be white labeled out. So block sets is a perfect example of that, built by BRD. They're white labeling solutions, but they're building all data infrastructure and the wallet infrastructure so that when these institutions and enterprises and family offices and hedge funds come on, they're like, okay, here's your white label solution. You go offer it to your customers now. And I think that's where they're going. Instead of just trying to create one thing and get everyone under the umbrella, that's not the way to do it. So I think Polysign and SBI for the last 4 to 5 years have been building this, and it's only now coming to the forefront. But over that time, DeFi has exploded, and it's going to continue to explode, and it's gaining institutional interest. That's the next thing here. Also, the market infrastructure of trading, the exchanges and their whole walled gardens, proprietary, databases, that model is going the way of Dodo Bird. It's just on the way out. So Coinbase and their whole model was the first. They IPO'd really fast. Well, there was a reason, because nobody's going to really follow in their business model because it's not sufficient. It's not built on blockchain. It doesn't use smart contracts, and it barely allows the users to connect to the blockchains. I mean, basically all it does is allow you to on and off ramp to the blockchains. That's it. but it doesn't connect to any dApps. It doesn't give the users any DeFi capabilities. So we're going to see a move away from that. So I know there's always a focus on exchanges and all this trading, but that happens off the blockchain. It's completely legacy technology. So we're going to see a move away from that. That's what's inhibiting the growth forward, is these exchanges trying to stand their ground and keep their users, but they're on legacy tech. And now all these new applications and trading and DeFi coming, that is the future. So this is not financial advice. It's not tax advice. It's no type of advice. This is just for educational purposes only. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.